So hello and welcome along to another edition of Isolation Interviews for Hospital Radio and my YouTube channel. And I'm super excited to be joined by the legendary Chris Tarrant. Thank you for joining me.
Oh, I'm sorry if you're super excited, but yeah, no, my pleasure, my pleasure. And I am a local boy, so yeah, if I can help things in Reading in this awful year, then why not? You know, not going anywhere.
I mean, the last time we spoke was back, I think it was 2 years ago, and you came down to our studios and we recorded a Take 5 show. We got you to pick some songs. So much fun to record, and to have you actually in our studio was fantastic. I mean, for you, obviously, you know, with everyone, life has completely changed since then. I mean, kind of how have things changed for you? How have you been coping with this new life we find ourselves in?
I mean, it has been a pain. I was doing pretty well until this second lockdown. I must admit now I'm actually getting fed up, and you know, Christmas and stuff. But mainly we've actually managed quite well. I mean, the old lady and I seem to get on very well, because I know some couples have been fighting like mad, because it's not natural to be 23, 24 hours a day with your other half. So that's been good. And because I've got a house with like lots and lots of land out here, so I can wander. I've actually re-explored my own garden. I've got a big wood and stuff, so I've found out a lot of stuff. I've been watching a lot of deer. I've been filming owls, badgers, all sorts of stuff. So that's been good. So I've learned a lot about where I live. Actually, I mean, I've been living out here back again in Berkshire for about 15 years, and I've sort of relearned, you know, my whole area. I found new footpaths and all sorts of stuff. So all that was good. And then we got an area where, like an outhouse thing, really, where people can come and stay. So once the regulation said, like, the kids could go in, I mean, all this stuff about different bubbles and all that, which I've never really understood. Oh, this is bubbles. But the kids were coming sort of separately, and we'd meet halfway down and we'd have meals at distance and all that. So it's been all right, you know, and it was easier in the summer because, you know, it's just nicer and there was a pool and stuff. But it's quite hard to try and explain to a little, like my grandkids, you know, you can't come too close and all that. It's quite difficult. I really miss sort of giving my son a great big bear hug and all that stuff. It's been okay. I've actually been really busy, and I kept thinking, why am I so busy? I'm not sort of really, I've just done all sorts of stuff, lots of local charities. I've been involved with Zoom stuff and quizzes and things. And then I just keep doing, I've just done a big thing about George Michael. I did a thing about Lenny Henry. I've been finishing off what for now, at any rate, will be the last railway programme, I think, for quite a while, which was the Kenya one that we filmed before lockdown. But then, you know, it was all waiting to be finished, to be edited. The editors weren't coming in, the studios were closed. I hadn't done the commentary and all that. So it's taken a long time to get that one together. I don't know when it'll go out, hopefully quite soon, because, the railways in Kenya was just extraordinary. I mean, the actual building of these railways, I mean, that one in particular, they had so many problems building this railway across Kenya. Kenya was a sort of swamp on the way to Uganda, and they sort of disregarded it completely. Didn't think much of it, and they started to build. And they did find eventually it's like this incredibly wealthy, rich country. But the problems building it, I mean, all those things like cholera, snake bite, you know, et cetera, torrential rain, dust storms, sandstorms, all sorts of problems. And the worst one was they got into the Savo Desert after about, 2 or 3 weeks of traveling and digging. And, you know, it's very much, I mean, literally digging holes with shovels and picks. There was no clever bits of engineering. They got camped out, and I suppose they were down to, 250 guys by then as they built the way through this thing. And these man-eating lions. There's a Michael Douglas film called something like The Ghosts of Darkness or something. Very good film. And it's about these man-eating. There were 2 lions, really big. Well, they were getting very big because they were eating people. But they kept coming into the camp at night, basically taking one of the workers away from their tent in the jaws by the head, dragging them off and basically eating them. And this went on for ages. And I said to the guy, how many workers do you think were actually killed? Expecting him to say, 10, 12, 15, 140?
No way.
140 people were eaten by lions before they shot them and thought, maybe we ought to get rid of these. Unbelievable. I mean, unbelievable. And then when we finished the film, we got arrested. So it wasn't, we got locked up in it was actually quite scary. I mean, it's fun now to talk about. It's actually quite scary. We had the wrong bit of paper or something for the very last day's filming. And I said, look, I've got this paper here. It's all signed by God knows who, some Kenyan official saying, Mr. Tarrant has permission to film in this area where we were and do this piece to camera. And he said, oh, it is the wrong piece. And I went, I don't know. Okay, sorry, mate. You know, we're going to film along there. No, you have committed an offence. We ended up in prison. And it was for about, well, it's fine now, for about half a day. But it was a very long 7 or 8 hours. And these large Kenyan gentlemen behind bars are saying, we cannot wait to get you in this prison, White Birmingham. God, what are we doing? And all that stuff like, you pick up the phone, you ring your solicitor. None of that. Nobody spoke English. Took all our passports off us. And I thought, we're actually going to disappear here. And you don't want to be in a Kenyan prison overnight for even one night. And then suddenly they said, and we had been in there 6 or 7 hours with 5 guys, me and the crew. And this guy suddenly came back and said, here are your passports. I'm sorry. There was a misunderstanding. It's like, oh, God. Yeah. So that film, obviously, we didn't film the arrest in the police station. That wouldn't have been, getting out of camera would not have been a good time to do that. But it's a great film. And because we nearly lost our liberty making it, so that'll go out soon. So, I've been doing stuff. Lots of stuff, actually. I've been quite busy.
I mean, I imagine when you're doing, the extreme railways, it's such a fun series to watch. I mean, for you filming it must be so much fun. You must be disappointed now that you might not be able to do that for a while because you can't travel abroad, really.
Yeah, I know. I'll tell you where we were due after Kenya. I mean, thank God we didn't. But we were due in March and April. Now, you know what March and April were like, because everything suddenly kicked off. We were filming, we were doing 3 weeks, and we had all the visas and all that, and all the, various passes and air tickets, whatever. We were starting in Moscow, we were flying to Moscow. We were filming the railways from Moscow into Mongolia and ending up in China. Well, wouldn't that have been fun in March 2020? So that one was cancelled. Yeah, I've no idea. I mean, if I assume, we all assume we'll do some more eventually, but even if we got vaccines and things for ourselves, which doesn't seem to be imminent, I really don't know when the rest of the world's going to get itself back together. I mean, you certainly wouldn't want to go to, China, Brazil, Mexico, America under any circumstances, with or without a different president. I just think it would take a long time, really, for us to sort of be filming, happily around the world again, which is a great show because I enjoy it enormously. I don't actually miss the work, but I really miss the guys. I really miss the crew because you do get a real, like we've had a few tough, including being locked up in Kenya. We've had 1 or 2 tight squeezes over the years, and I just miss the guys. So we all email each other what you're doing, but they're not working either. I mean, they're not working. There's nothing to film.
I mean, that's the thing is, I completely didn't realise the series has been going, has been on our screens for about 8 years now. And obviously you guys have probably been working on it much longer than that. So it's been a big part of your life for the last, at least 10 years. Yeah,
I mean, I finished it. I finished Millionaire. I think I started doing the railway. Yeah, I did. I started doing the railways something like the last year or maybe 18 months of doing Millionaire. So like between breaks, I went off, literally the first one, I went off to the Congo. That was fun. That's a place to take your family on holiday. So yeah, I mean, I'd spent so many years of my life in studios. I mean, 20 odd years. I was just in a radio studio, in a TV studio. And I started, I mean, literally back before the dawn of time, I started filming outside stuff in ATV in the Midlands. And it was, I thought, I really want to get out again. I'm just stuck in this sort of chicken coop for so long. So, the filming for me was good. And then once Millionaire finished, and we'd all done it, we'd had enough, we'd had a great, fantastic time. But, it was time for me certainly to move on. And I really got into the railway stuff. And then, I think we've done 30 now. I think 29 have gone out. We're waiting for Kenya to be transmitted because it's a bit of a one-off. Somebody worked out we've travelled 7 times around the circumference of the world in terms of, mileage on planes and trains and boats and cars and helicopters and whatever. It's been, I really enjoy it. It's good fun. It's very much sort of me stamping my own authority on just travelling really and looking at foreigners and, laughing at foreigners. And actually, I mean, I'm not a great, people send me sort of train books and things, which I'm not actually a great lover of. I like trains, but I don't get particularly excited about them. But I love railways. The whole history of the building of railways, like the one I was talking about in Kenya. I mean, we just get on a train. Well, obviously, at the moment we don't, but normally we just get on a train and take it as granted. Actually, how they built, even in the UK, how they built railways back 150, 200 years ago, is amazing. I mean, some other stuff, and I'm not really into engineering, but sometimes you see a bridge like somewhere in India going right across this monsoon swamp. You think, how the hell did they build that? You know, and the way they keep them going. We were in Alaska in these blizzards on the great, you know, fir trees were crashing down, and they'd had trouble with bears earlier in the year and all that. And it just runs 365 days a year. That railway will run, which is brilliant. You know, some of it. I mean, the only place I think, and then we dare say something like, "Oh, leaves on the line." You think, "Oh, leaves." No, they have bears on the line. But the only place where I have really got off on the trains is Japan, because Japan is just amazing. Those bullet trains, they are just beautiful. And we had a sort of speedometer thing, you know, an app as we were traveling, and we did 230 miles an hour, I think, which is pretty quick. And you only realise that when you look out the window, it's past your head, because it's just so smooth. None of that, you know, spilling your coffee all over your lap and all that stuff. Carry on a perfectly normal conversation with each other. You know, like there's no noise, and you're just batting along. The trains in Japan, even every single train in Japan is exactly to the minute on time. Quite brilliant.
Something you'd never see in this country.
Yeah, just a bit. And in fact, the first one I came back from Japan. I mean, even the trains in Japan even smell nice. When you get on a train in Britain, go, "Oh, this one smells nice." You go, "Oh God, this one smells bad." Yeah, they pump in, I don't know, lavender and stuff. The ticket collector comes into each compartment and bows. You don't get that on British Rail. It's really impressive. And then I got back and I had to go to Manchester on the Sunday night. I was doing a commercial or something the next day. And bear in mind, I've just had like 3 weeks of every train being exactly in the most remote sidings, wherever we were, every train on time. I go down to King's Cross to go to Manchester. The first train was the 6:35, I think. And it just sort of arrived at 7:10, and nobody went, 7:10? There was no, I mean, already in Japan, you'd be hanging from a lamp. So it was 7:10, so it's already sort of 40 minutes late or whatever. And then we get to Manchester, we got a bit of time up, we get to Manchester, and we get outside Piccadilly Station, it just stops. And the bloke says, "Ladies and gentlemen, I can only apologise. Unfortunately, because of late running engineering works, we should be sitting here for another 45 minutes. So my first train up to Japan is an hour and a half late. And nobody's screaming or banging their heads against the window. They're going, "Well, not too bad. Only an hour and a half tonight. Not bad, you know." We do put up with a lot of nonsense. Yeah, no, it's been good. The railway's been good for me. Good for me. I've enjoyed it.
And I mean,
when we do it again, I don't know. We will, but I don't know when.
Now, obviously, you know, the way we work as well has completely changed. I mean, obviously, I imagine that you've been doing a few sort of voiceovers from home and a lot of Zoom calling.
I got one this week with a man with a van coming around the house. Don't ask. There's something I'm doing on, I don't know, later this week. And he said, "Oh, yeah, because of COVID and all that." I said, "Well, they're not coming to London in the studios." No, a man with a van comes. So...
So how are you adapting to the sort of new way of working? Are you finding it sort of odd, or are you quite enjoying it?
No, because I'm not very good. I mean, I'm not very clever. But I mean, I've just about mastered this Zoom lark. I don't like it, you know. I mean, it's all right. It's like you and I chatting now. Actually, you and I chatting now is like being in a radio studio. But you know, it's not proper, is it? And also, the pictures of people are very grim. You know, a lot of people sort of seem to live in semi-darkness, and you know, everybody's got a bookcase. Actually, I've got all this stuff, but everybody's got a bookcase. And have you noticed how many professors there are? There's thousands of professors. Every television program's got a professor on. Now, I'm just trying to think. I think I know 3 people who are called professor, and they're eminent surgeons or something, you know. There's hundreds of them, all these professors. So we'll get the latest COVID update. Here's Professor so-and-so from, you know, Banbury, and up he pops, and completely talks at odds with the last professor you had on, so there's thousands of them. It's just a strange time, and I'm concerned about Christmas this year, because I think that's going to be very tough time for everybody. I just hope people don't go, oh, never mind, it's Christmas. We'll just all cram the pubs and give each other bear hugs and lick each other's noses or whatever. No. So I don't know how we're going to do it. I don't know how. Jane, my missus, has been sorting out sort of a roster with my kids about who's coming, because we can't have more than 6 in the house. So we're 2. So you got anybody with a couple of kids, that's so because I've got a very large family, we're just having to juggle them all around. They seem to want to come. But we're going to end up with about 8 turkeys, I think. I mean, yes, I don't know. And I am, I'm fit as a butcher's dog, but I have got sort of strange things wrong with me. So I have to be careful. I don't want to catch this thing, and we really are quite good at it. But it's it is scary. It's a terrible thing. It's like nothing in my lifetime, nothing.
I mean, one thing I would say is it has, and for those people out there that maybe have kind of, neglected them a bit, I think it's given us a newfound respect for our National Health Service and all the key workers.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously the NHS, what would we do without them? They are superheroes.
I know.
So, I mean, what would you say to people out there that maybe have sort of taken them for granted a bit?
Well, they shouldn't. I mean, this year of all years, we really need them. I actually don't know how they keep going, because I know 1 or 2 of the sort of local nurses from Royal Berks. I mean, they have been through hell this year. And now, just as it was sort of seeming to go a bit calmer and, the death rate was right down, suddenly it's like right back up again. And not just physically, but I think emotionally. I mean, they were just watching people die. And this horrible idea that you go on to the next place, wherever it is, with people who are only with space masks is really spooky. Because you do want, if you're ill, I've been ill a couple of times over the last 10 years, you relate to your nurses and to your matron and to the doctors, not these sort of Star Wars people wandering about. I mean, yeah, they've been brilliant. I do think they've earned everything, really. I mean, everybody always says, oh, what about the nurses and all this? But they are amazing. They are amazing people. It's a proper vocation, isn't it? Quite incredible.
I mean, we're so lucky to have, a National Health Service as well. I mean, I know, many countries have nothing compared to what we have. You look at America.
Well, America, which has got the highest cases in the world, and Trump has, for 4 years been refusing to accept Obamacare, but hasn't actually done anything in its place. I mean, it'll be very interesting, really. But I think there's going to be a really weird period now where Trump is still denying that he's no longer the president, and Biden saying, no, you're not, I am now the president. But really, Biden ought to get in there like tomorrow and start doing something about the huge numbers of people who are dying in America of COVID. And Trump will just let it bumble on for another couple of months, which could be critical, actually. There's no question that he is very much responsible for the high infection and death rate in America. No question. His whole attitude is ridiculous. And these people, these adoring Trump fans, rammed into these stadiums with not a mask between them. And you sit there going, are they all stupid? I mean, God. Having said that, he got 70,000 votes. So that's a great worry about America.
But then you compare that, for example, with like New Zealand, who have had, I think, correct me, I think it's like 25 deaths over the whole pandemic. And obviously they've done it so right.
Yeah. Well, somebody said they're an island. They shut the door. I said, well, we're an island. We just let everybody in. I think that was one of the great blunders in the early. Boris actually can't win, and he's had a huge amount of stick, sort of non-stop, and in some cases quite rightly. But I'm not sure anybody else could do that much better a job. It's a pretty good time to be in opposition or whatever. I mean, it just came out of nowhere. And Merkel and Macron, they're all getting, abused, protests against them and all that. It's a horrid time, I think. Just wanted to go away.
I mean, hopefully we get back to some sort of normal soon, and we can just go back and see people and spend time together, and just normality would be lovely at the moment.
I just like to be driving that, up to my house and go, I think I'll just stop for a pint in the local, just have a pint, not gallons, but just a pint, and say, hello mate, how are you, and all that. But I haven't been into my local pubs for ages. I mean, the profits from me alone this year must have slumped. But we are. I must admit, we are drinking quite a lot at home, which is not good. Have you been away at all?
I did actually manage to get to Lefkas in Greece for a week.
Really?
They were one of the islands that didn't. They've hardly had any rates there at all, and there was no need to isolate when you got there or got back. So I did get a week in the sun, which I'm so thankful for. But as I say, I know so many people haven't been able to do that because you can't guarantee you'll be able to.
We've had about 5 different. I was supposed to be in the Maldives. I was supposed to be in Oman. We were going on a cruise ship. We're not doing that this year. And the kids and I were going off to Turkey, and that's all. Turkey's postponed, and the others I'm sort of still waiting for, get some of the money back. But it's a nightmare. I still get all these sort of brochures arrive from travel aid. I go, look, I don't know. Yes, I'd love to. That does look a very nice holiday, but I don't think I can go. I don't think we're going to be going away in the new year anyway. I'm not sure. We got to Scotland. We drove up to Scotland. That was good, actually. I enjoyed that. I got in a lift, and there's an enormous man behind me. I mean, I'm quite big, and this great big bloke. And I'm sort of, he's behind me, and I'm facing that way, thinking, I don't want to turn around, but I'm trying to think, who is he? Who is he? Who is he? And we got out, we were going out to dinner. We got out the lift, and the door shut, and I went, it was Tyson Fury. How can I not recognise this huge bloke? But, because you can't do a double take and all that. I'm going to be cool. I'm just going to think about it. It was Tyson Fury in the lift. So we had a good time in Scotland. And then we sort of did John O'Groats to Penzance, to Land's End. We did the Scilly Isles, which I've never been to before. And it's really nice. It's like England must have been in the sort of 1930s or something. It's really nice out there.
So I managed to get away to the Cotswolds a few weeks ago. Lovely, Burton on the Water. So many lovely picturesque villages. Yeah. So that was nice to do something a little bit more normal as well.
Good fishing down there as well.
But then, I say we funnily enough, we're due in a couple of weeks' time to go to Bournemouth. That's obviously not happening now. So it's just, when will we get to have even just staycations?
Well, luckily, it is essential that I go fishing, which I find very odd. My missus says it's essential I get out of her feet. But yeah, I mean, thanks. But my mates who play golf, they can't play golf, but fishing apparently is essential. Essential recreation. So I've been doing a bit of essential recreation. It's been all right. I mean, it's just been a weird year. And, I haven't suffered, well, obviously I haven't caught it, but I also, it hasn't been that tough on me. And I've seen the kids and stuff. But there are some people, 1 or 2 I know, who just live on their own in some small, cramped, dwelling, more or less staring at the walls and screaming. I mean, and they're back in lockdown now. So mate of mine in Newbury has hardly been out. He's quite frail, lovely guy. And he's hardly been out. And now he's back in again. It's like, oh, for God's sake. And they're scared. I mean, they're actually frightened.
That's the thing is, so many people, you go out and it's, I mean, I was sort of stuck indoors for about 7 weeks, I think, at one point. And by the time you go out, it's I'm quite an outgoing person, but I found it really weird for the first time stepping outside and, you don't want to get too close to anyone. And it's just a really weird situation to be in.
Well, if they open my local pubs on Christmas Day, which I'm sure they will, and I mean, normally they're absolutely rammed. It's a big, Christmas lunch. It's absolutely packed. And then we all crawl back for turkey about 4 o'clock in the afternoon. I can't imagine doing that this year. I mean, no way. Because I haven't been there for so long, I see these, hello, Tarrant. And I go, no bear hugs. Don't kiss me. It's going to be getting back to normal. Please, God, we do. But it's going to be strange. It's going to be really odd. Really weird.
Now, I just want to say, Chris, it has been an absolute pleasure talking to you again. But before we go, are there any messages you'd like to give to anyone who is stuck in hospital at the moment?
Yeah, I do utterly sympathise with everyone. I just hope that, you get better soon, because it is a horrible time. I don't know, I got into trouble for this last time I was talking to Piers Morgan, but I personally still find it very difficult to believe that one person eating a bat in China has destabilised the whole world. I'm sorry, but I don't buy it. So anybody out there in hospital, just lots of love from everybody and get well soon. This is a really bad time, but we will turn the corner and get well. And a happy Christmas and hopefully a much, much happier New Year.
Thank you so much, Chris. It's been an absolute pleasure. Of course, keep safe and thank you again for giving up your time.
Thank you, Matthew. Take care, mate. Cheers.